Okay, so this is Captain Sam G, and this is the Gallery of Fear. And feel free to mute me if you want to, and just read the subtitles yourself. Otherwise, I'll be narrating everything you can read in this portion of the game. So this is Jackson Eckhouse-esque, and as you can see, each time I approach one of these locked up guys, their heartbeat shoots through the roof. They're so incredibly terrified of me. Eckhouse is Carmine Falcone's lawyer and confidant. They grew up in the same tenements of Gotham City's Lower East Side and have relied upon and trusted each other like brothers. It was largely Falcone's ill-gotten money that put Eckhouse through law school, on the understanding that he would use his education to keep Falcone out of jail. Needless to say, it's been a full-time job. Oh, shuddering with fear. And on to the next guy. Carmine Falcone. The last of the old guard, Carmine Falcone has profited from most of the graft, corruption, theft, and violent crime in Gotham City for the last 3 decades. Falcone is the linchpin of a network of loyalty, intimidation, and greed, protected equally by his street toughs and by scores of corrupt cops and politicians. He was untouchable until the appearance of Batman. So now he's here, in this absolute horror show. Marvin Walker. One of Falcone's longest running and most loyal employees, Walker has been to jail 5 times and the hospital twice in service to the syndicate. He achieved minor infamy in the criminal community for carrying out the Crone job, an in-office hit on the shortest acting GPD chief superintendent on record, Leonard Crone. He has been on the Gotham Police most wanted list ever since, but has been saved from arrest by the system's rampant corruption. And then Batman happened. Nothing to save you from him. Walter Pfister. Pfister began working for Falcone as a surveillance man, hiding cameras in seedy hotels and upscale brothels in order to blackmail the wealthy and politically influential. Wow, what a perfect name for his job then, Pfister. Arrested under electronic eavesdropping laws, he agreed to provide the cops with hidden surveillance on Falcone rather than do jail time. But he could not keep his betrayal secret for long. Without Batman's timely arrival, Pfister would be staring at the underside of a Gotham landfill. Nice little backstories to all these guys. From my perspective, I've just been hitting a bunch of thugs in the face and moving on, but no. Batman has been doing more than that behind the scenes, so his betrayal was found out, he would have ended up dead, but Batman got to him before then. Sergeant Robert Hardy. Sergeant Hardy began his career as an idealistic and upstanding Gotham police officer. Corruption came first as a matter of survival, as Robert soon found himself accepting bribes when bullets were the alternative. As both he and his wife quickly developed expensive tastes, Hardy now considers himself more an employee of Carmine Falcone than of Gotham City. Lungton Pem. Lungton Pem is a long-standing footman in the League of Shadows. He was one of many in the League assigned to find Bruce Wayne after sightings of the vanished billionaire in Asia and India. Pem allowed himself to be arrested for the killing of an Indian smuggler in Funchal-Ling in order to gain entrance to the Bhutanese prison where Wayne was rumoured to be interned. By correctly identifying Wayne, Pem facilitated his introduction to Henri Ducard and the League of Shadows. Again, that's really nice to know as well. Something that the movie and the game didn't explore, but it's just suddenly given me a bit of backstory. Paul Riker. An overly ambitious, strong-arm man on Falcone's payroll, Paul was Joe Chill's cellmate in Gotham Prison and the man who alerted Falcone that Chill intended to turn state's evidence. Joe Chill, man who murdered my parents. Lee Bascombe. A low-level enforcer in Falcone's crime syndicate, Lee Bascombe has a simple mind, strong hands, and no aversion to violence. As Falcone has found himself involved in dealings with Dr. Jonathan Crane and the unnamed foreign supplier of Bhutanese opiates, Bascombe has become more valuable within the syndicate simply by being sensible enough not to ask questions. And onto... not that way. Onto the West Wing. Andrew Greaves. A white-collar everyman, Greaves suffered a nervous breakdown as a result of an IRS investigation, an extramarital affair, and alcohol abuse. His family was notified that the 1 week of observation at Arkham Asylum would be indefinitely extended. They were not told that his condition had taken a sharp detour into violent schizophrenia as a result of Dr. Crane's fear experiments. Mr. Greaves enjoys howling, chewing on his hands, and beating his head against things. Wow. Arkham Asylum, worst place in the world to be put, especially if you're only extremely mildly strange. Detective Flass. Flass has been corrupt even longer than he's been a cop. He's run dozens of low-level grafts since he was a teenager, everything from $5 bribes from street hustlers to free falafels from unlicensed pushcarts. Being partnered with Detective James Gordon has put a slight damper on his bribery collection, but not so much that he's cut back on his falafel consumption. Flass. The most evil of guys, even more evil than Victor Zars, taking hard-earned falafel money. Mr. Zars is a notorious serial killer and current resident of Arkham Asylum. He evolved from a killer who murders by compulsion to the kind of sociopath who murders for pleasure. His arms and chest are covered with a tally of lines, each one etched into his skin to memorize a victim. He's running out of carving space. And I'm guessing he's got a special place on his body saved for me. Paul Jennings. Jennings started his life of crime on film sets, selling painkillers and illicit favors to the stars of Gotham's silver screen. With the collapse of the city's film business, Jennings had to find another industry and found a perfect match for his tastes for easy violence and easy cash in an introduction to Carmine Falcone. And look where you ended up because of it. Robert Burke. Burke was one of many criminals who found himself cast out into the cold after Carmine Falcone was brought to justice. He eagerly accepted work with Dr. Jonathan Crane, not knowing the circumstances of the job. He has a preference for less psychologically traumatizing violence and is seeking other employment. You-Jin Norbu. A relatively new recruit to the League of Shadows, You-Jin Norbu has made great progress in his 7 years of training. His discipline and great skill are marred only by an excessive taste for violence, and the lack of control that sometimes inspires. The League, however, deemed his personality perfect for a mission in which the League would have to face and defeat Bruce Wayne. Didn't work out too well for him. Oh, hello, Jonathan Crane. A brilliant but morally bankrupt former psychopharmacologist. At Arkham Asylum, Jonathan Crane's entire personality has been hijacked by the Scarecrow persona he developed as part of his fear experiments. His dementia is the result of exposure to his own fear toxin, a weaponized form of the hallucinogenic poppies used by the League of Shadows. So now the Doctor is a patient at Arkham Asylum. And last but not least, Henri Ducard. Although really his name should be changed to Ra's al Ghul by now. We know who he really is. There are multiple and conflicting rumours about the history of Henri Ducard. One of the more reliable describes him as a private detective who died on a hunting expedition in Nepal over a decade ago. Other rumours place him as a manhunter along the Ganges River in Bangladesh who caught every criminal he stalked, except for the one who killed his wife. The most persistent rumours make him to be a top echelon member of the League of Shadows, a Westerner who by skill and force of will worked his way upwards through the ranks to sit at the right hand of the legendary Ra's al Ghul. But we know better. So, that was The Gallery of Fear, a nice look at all the guys, well, not all the guys, there'd be like hundreds, but a bunch of guys we've been fighting over the course of the game, little insights, little backstories that give them more of a personality, things like that. Man, I wish there was a button I could hit that would just unlock all the cells and these guys would come pouring out to try fighting me, and I could beat the hell out of all of them. Although 8 on 1 plus one of them is Ra's al Ghul would be extremely difficult, but I'd welcome the challenge. Anyway, that's everything for Batman Begins. Join me next time where I move on to Batman, the animated series inspired game, Batman Vengeance. As always, leave me suggestions for superhero type games you'd like to see me play, and bye for now.